Boom! What's going on, Investomaniacs? Your boy Knight Rider here. I'm back. And today we're going to be going over a little thing that I made for myself. So I actually made it on a Google Sheets, and I kind of transferred it over to make it a little bit friendlier for you guys to look at. But this is something I made for me personally that I wanted to have the information, and I'm just sharing it with you. It may not be applicable to the types of stocks you like investing in, but you would just kind of maybe do the same process, but with stocks that you like to invest in. So what I wanted to know was, with my current investing strategy, which is mid to smaller large cap stocks, kind of like sub $100 billion companies for the most part, that are technology, typically, preferably consumer facing, and definitely growth stocks. If I would have made really good investing choices on those types of companies, say about a decade ago, how much money would I have made in the real world? So I took the past 11 years because I wanted to start kind of towards the beginning of the 2008 market crash. I didn't want to start after the 2008 market crash because that obviously would have been kind of making the numbers look better than they really would be. So I actually started towards the beginning of that 2008 market crash. We still would have seen an additional 46% drop in the markets before the bottom. So this was a pretty bad time to invest, but that means it's good for us because we're being more conservative with our numbers. So the 5 stocks that I would have chosen to invest in, I currently own 6 stocks. So again, that's kind of along where I like to be, about 5-6 stocks. And if I was more confident in my investing abilities, probably I'd have less than 6 stocks, but 6 is where I feel comfortable right now. But if I would have invested in Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, aka Mang, sounds kind of similar to Fang, except Facebook wasn't public in 2008, so I had to replace in Microsoft, which I think would have been kind of the logical decision in 2008. So these types of companies, Microsoft, again, well established at that point in time. By the way, we're excluding the dividends from Microsoft and Apple in these numbers, just pure appreciation. Apple, this would have been about 1 year after the iPhone was released. I know that I certainly remember when 2008 hit, or 2007 hit, and the iPhone was released. It was like, this is going to change the world. I think a lot of us knew just instinctually, this is going to be massive. This iPhone is going to change things. And of course, it did. So we would have been investing in Apple about 1 year after the first iPhone was released. Amazon, already well established by 2008, definitely had its dominance at that point. Netflix, like, this is one of those companies where it would have been a little bit riskier to invest in at that point in time. Would have been a little bit smaller market cap company at that time, but I think a lot of us still knew in 2008, after it had already been out for many years, that this was going to be big in the future. This type of consuming content was going to become increasingly popular in the future. So I think that Netflix is a type of a company that I would have gotten into. And then Google, which again was already well established by 2008 and just making a whole bunch of money. So that's Mang. If we would have equal weighted invested in all these stocks, we would have had a 27.74% compounding annual return over the next 11 years. But in the real world, I probably wouldn't stay in like my entire portfolio for 11 straight years. I'd have some portfolio turnover. So I like to use a 5-year portfolio turnover rate. I also did numbers for 10-year portfolio turnover rates, but I'm just going to talk about the 5-year portfolio turnover rates. So on a post-tax 5-year portfolio turnover, we're going to be seeing just under a 24% annual compounding return every single year, right? Indefinitely, so long as we stay in these types of companies that are the types of companies I like investing in and making really good investing decisions. A $100,000 portfolio at those 5-year portfolio turnover rate numbers would have turned into, after a decade, $853,000. And after 20 years, we're already up to $7.3 million, again, from that $100,000 portfolio. A little kind of quick math thing that I like to remember in my head, because again, I like to do these things so I can see the exact numbers, but I also don't remember the exact numbers, right? I'm not going to remember that Mang made exactly 27.74%, or that I need exactly, or 23.91% on a post-tax 5-year portfolio turnover basis. These are a little bit too specific to remember. So here's the big general number that I like to remember. To 10x your money in 10 years, you need a 30% return before tax. So that's you actually don't need 30% to 10x your money, but we have to take into consideration taxes, right? So I took the taxes into consideration. So what you need to actually get on your portfolio as a return to 10x your money in 10 years is 30%. And that actually like half accounts for inflation. So those are almost like real numbers right there. So I would take that and just keep it in the back of your mind as a little thing to remember. To 10x your money in 10 years, you need 30%. And that's one of the reasons why I put strong revenue growth, 30% plus revenue growth, at one of the top notches on my kind of investing preferences, because I know in order to achieve 30% portfolio growth on kind of an extended basis, we need to have really strong top line growth. But anyways, it just kind of gives you some concrete real life numbers of what you can expect if you make really good investing decisions that are investing decisions I think the average investor who's at home and maybe isn't super technical and super experienced in a lot of things and maybe isn't an expert in valuation, they can still get into these types of mid cap and large cap tech companies that are consumer facing, that are already relatively well established, and you can still make a lot of money. Hope you guys have a great day.